How different is your setup in Germany? You've heard this problem of governments getting committed to spending and the Fed having one way or the other to accommodate itself to it. Now, what's your position on this very interesting problem?
We are very independent of the government, but on the other hand, we are an advisor of the government, also on their budget deficits. And they would not easily go before Parliament with a deficit in their budget which is openly criticized and disapproved by the central bank. Why? Because we have a tradition in our country that we can also publicly criticize the government on this account. And second, if, as has happened in our case too, the government goes beyond what is tolerable for the sake of overall equilibrium, we have let it come through in the capital markets. That is to say, they have driven up interest rates. That has drawn public criticism, and that has had some effect on their attitude.
I think that's a very important point that Dr. Eminger just made, because there is not a one-to-one relationship between government deficits and what happens to the money supply at all. The pressure on the Federal Reserve comes indirectly. It comes because large government deficits, if they are financed in the general capital market, will drive up interest rates. And then we have the right Patmins in Congress and their successors pressuring the Federal Reserve to enter in and finance the deficit by printing money as a way of supposedly holding down interest rates. Now, before I turn to Mr. Brown and ask him that, I just want to make one point which is very important. The Federal Reserve's activities in trying to hold down interest rates have put us in a position where we have the highest interest rates in history. It's another example of the difference between the announced intentions of a policy and the actual result. But now I want to come to Clarence Brown and ask him, shift the buck to him and put him on the hot seat for a bit. The government spending has been going up rapidly, Republican administration or Democratic administration. This is a non-partisan issue. It doesn't matter. Right. Government deficits have been going up rapidly, Republican administration or Democratic administration. Why is it that here again you have the difference between pronouncements and performance? There is no congressman, no senator who will come out and say, I am in favor of inflation. There's not a single one who will say, I am in favor of big deficits. They'll all say, we want to balance the budget, we want to hold down spending, we want an economical government. How do you explain the difference between performance and talk on the side of Congress?
Well, first, I think we have to make one point. I'm not so much with the government as I am against it.
I understand.
As you know, I'm a minority member of Congress.